our homestead. Well, today I am in the garden. I have an evening market from 4 to 7, so I'm out here trying to harvest early so that I don't have to do it midday. I was hoping to beat the sun coming up over those trees, but that didn't work out. It took a little longer to take care of the animals this morning, and now the sun's already over the trees. Now it's bright and sunny out here. So I'm gonna start at this end, and hopefully I will make my way down the garden and still be in a little bit of shade down there.
On my own, but I don't know why you hit the road, but you don't realize.
Alright guys, look at the size of these beans. These are our long Chinese noodle green beans. They're an heirloom from Baker Creek, and they are very prolific. They do really well here, and once they start putting on beans and you continue to pick them, they put on more and more every day. So I get to pick these just about every day for every market that we go to, and they are pretty much a favorite for a lot of my customers. They're a little bit sweeter than a regular bush bean, and basically you can cook them the same way that you would cook green beans.
I won't think twice when you're gone. Don't hesitate to call me back.
Alright, green beans picked. Just wanted to show you guys, sometimes I miss green beans and they end up really fat and big like this. And these are not really good to sell at the market, but my rabbits like these as treats. So we kind of put those off to the side and we'll give them to the rabbits. We also grow the same kind of green bean, but the red version. So these are pretty popular too. And I know there was somewhere that I read that any kind of red plant has a lot of antioxidants in it. So this includes these beans, eggplants. So a lot of people like these versus the green ones.
Hey guys, well, as you saw in the last video and homestead happenings, my motorcycle broke down. And today's the day. Missy's been hard at work all week in the garden. I just got home last night, and it's time to get this project done. You can see I have my motorcycle jack. I'm gonna get the bike unstrapped, get that underneath. We'll get it jacked up. Let me show you what we got. Oh, it's a little humid out. So, these bike jacks. You can see how it works. These are an essential tool if you are a motorcycle owner that works on his own equipment, because that bike is so stable up there. And as you can see, let me get you down here. When I sit on my little stool, you can see everything I need to do is right up here, right in my face where I want it, not down there on the ground. So that'll be much better. So the first thing I gotta do is I gotta get the primary oil out of here, and then we'll take the primary off, cover off, the primary, the pulley, the chain, the clutch basket, then the inner primary, Then we got to take the back tire off, and then we got to feed that belt up through. Take a look at what we got here. We got the primary cover off, chain nice and tight. Everything looks good in here. I'm not seeing a lot of metal fibers anywhere. Everything really looks really good here inside the primary. So the next step, I got to get the clutch basket and the primary pulley, engine pulley off, and this whole chain assembly off. But to do that, I'm going to break out the Bible and I'll show you what I'm talking about, guys. This is what I'm talking about. This is not an owner's manual. This is the maintenance manual. This is the same manual that the technicians at the dealership use, and this tells you how to take every part off this bike, how to rebuild the engine, everything you need to know about this motorcycle from a repair standpoint is in this book. This is the maintenance book, the service manual. Okay, if you own a motorcycle, you got to have one of these. So what we're going to do is we're going to look up drive belt replacement, and it should drive belt 6 adjustment installation 623 624. Drive belt. Can you guys see that? Hold on. Whole section on the drive belt. This is going to tell me how to remove it, what is going to be necessary, and how to install it.
well, guys, it doesn't look like I'm gonna beat that sun. It's pretty warm out here. But a big thank you to Terry and Glow Miller, one of our subscribers. They sent me this wonderful neck fan, and it has helped tremendously. It has 5 speeds, and it blows the cool air right up, and it helps a lot. So much appreciated. This is definitely a lifesaver. Thank you guys. I really love it. All right, moving on to our tomato row. Now, this year I'm not really happy with our tomatoes. We're not sure what's been going on. They're taking forever to ripen. There's a lot of flowers that you can see on, especially our cherries. And we have a lot of bigger tomatoes on the vines, but they're just taking forever to ripen. So what I've been doing is, these are our gooseberry, yellow gooseberry tomatoes. And what I've been doing is, as soon as they start to turn, I've been picking tomatoes like this so that I can put them in cardboard boxes. I use my jar boxes because they're smaller, and they tend to ripen up faster just sitting in those boxes.
All right, guys. Oh, I forgot the last time I did this. There's a bad design flaw in this. So, to get this inner primary off, that hole right there, that's where my starter comes through. And it bolts in from the back side here. But the only way to get at these 2 bolts, because of the way the oil tank sat in here, you have to take the oil tank out. Now, there's 2 lines that come through here. This one here, okay, and then this one way back in there. Those 2 lines keep you from being able to get a long Allen wrench in here and taking them out. So this right here should have come more this way, because the starter sits in there just like that. And if this came up more or down more, you could get an Allen wrench through there. And same on the other side. If the drain line was tilted over just a bit, you could have come in here with a long Allen key or socketed Allen key and an extension, and got in there and taken these bolts out to release that. But that happens sometimes in manufacturing. So I had to pull the battery out, I had to pull the battery box out, I had to pull the oil tank off, all to get at those 2 nuts. So this is where we're at. This is the pulley that my my belt sits on, and it runs through here and it comes back over here to here. So all that I have left, I got to take this plastic bracket off, and I got to disconnect the back wheel, and I can feed the new belt up through there.
A big harvest, but I also have been picking for a few days now for the bigger markets that I go to. This evening, this market is a smaller market, so I usually bring less anyway. On my way back, I picked some banana peppers here, which are kind of nice. I also had an abundance of banana peppers, so I made some banana pepper jelly with jalapeno and red onion. That was super yum. I did like a taste testing yesterday at my Thursday market and sold a bunch of jars of that, so that was really nice. I also have jalapenos out here, but because I have a lady at my market who sets up, she sells honey, and she does a lot of honey infusions, and her mom make a lot of jams and jellies that require jalapenos. I've been selling my jalapenos to her in big bulks. So yesterday when I harvested the day before, I was able to get her pretty close to 5 pounds of jalapenos, and she was super excited about that. So looking at some of those interests and people who are looking for big bulk items, and that way I won't have to carry those items to the markets all the time. If I know that I have someone who's interested in buying a lot of one thing, I'll wait to harvest, and that way it'll give a good yield. I do have a lot of jalapenos that are coming on right now, so hopefully by next Thursday I'll have another batch for her. All right, so I think I'm pretty much done here in the garden. There's not much else I can pick, so I'm gonna head into the greenhouse and see what I have for bell peppers. I know that I harvested some the other day, and there's some baby ones out there, but they're not really ready to pick, so I'll go check them today. But I also had a problem with hornworm. I had a hornworm that I found that pretty much was the size of my pinky, if not bigger and fatter. And it chewed at least 4 or 5 of the bottom of my bell peppers, which I was not happy about because they were pretty much at harvest size, and that kind of limits what you can harvest when you have bugs eating at your crop.
All right. That looks good. I'll get that hung up right there so we can run our cross member back through, and then we can get the back tire back on, get the caliper on, get the starter positioned, and the inner primary back on.
To the greenhouse. Let me show you what that hornworm did, because it totally ate my entire plant and pretty much all the peppers that were on it. Look at this. This whole thing has been eaten off. Now it does have some flowers on it, and it does have a little pepper, so I'm sure it will come back, but it pretty much did not touch the rest of my peppers in here. So I'm glad that I found it. All right, so I'm gonna look and see what peppers I can find on here that are ready to pick. Alright guys, so I really only found 2 peppers that were even remotely the size for picking, but that's okay because I will use these myself instead of bringing them to market, which is fine because we use a lot of peppers, and if I don't get around to making anything that I would put peppers in, then I will cut these up and stick them in a bag and put them in the freezer.
Well guys, we had to call it quits last night. It started to sprinkle while I was scraping down all the gaskets. So we broke out a canopy, put it over it, and it's supposed to rain all day today, off and on. So I'm glad the canopy is up. I'll just keep it up so that I can finish getting this put together. So I'm gonna scrape some gaskets, get everything ready, and then we're gonna throw this back together.
All around the world, everybody's freaking out now. All I really wanna know is when can I go out of my house? I just wanna dance with you even in a hazmat suit. We can hunker in my bunker, baby, we ain't got no morning commute. We're in this together,
But get away
I love you forever.
from far away.
Till you're feeling better, we're in the isolation groove. We're in this together,
But separately.
I love you forever.
But please don't touch me.
Till you're feeling better, we're in the isolation groove.
Ain't nobody in the street, ain't nobody on the dance floor. They're too busy buying everything in every single grocery store. Let's see how the kitchen.
Here comes the fun part. We've got to torque down with a compensator and the clutch hub, and then we've got to put our retaining pin in and do our clutch adjustment inside here. All of this has to be 100% perfect, otherwise we'll have to tear it back open again to redo it. So this is very important. Hopefully we can get it right. All right, let's start with this one. All right, put the gasket on, cover on. Oh, come on, don't play those games. All right, guys, all I have left is to put the back tire back together, get it aligned, get my tension correct, put the battery box in, put the exhaust on the other side, and it'll be ready to go. So I'm gonna do that, and I will come back after the test ride.
All right, so here we are up at the farm stand building, and this is what I was talking about. So these tomatoes are tomatoes that I picked the other day, and they're green and yellow, and some are starting to turn red. But if I leave them for a couple days, this is what I get. Same thing with my gooseberry tomatoes. If I leave them sit, they start ripening up in the boxes, and this is the beautiful tomato that I get to bring to market. So it's been working out pretty well. And I found that if I pick them earlier, when I start seeing any kind of color on them, that allows me to salvage a lot of our tomatoes, because then the bugs don't get at them right away while they're on the vine. For some reason this year, we're just having a real big problem with bugs and pests. But I guess that's part of having a garden. And if you want to try to grow organically as possible, you're gonna have pest problems. So as for the market today, I will be bringing a variety of items. I usually have my jams and my jellies. I have the produce that I have harvested, plus I have some stuff that's left over from yesterday. I believe I have some okra to add into the okra that I picked today, and also some beans. I have my garlic braids, which, here. I have my garlic that I have braided. I also sell it individually too, so if anyone doesn't want a whole braid and they don't want that much garlic, they can buy it garlic bulb at a time. I also have some oregano oil. Now this oregano oil came from Ryan and Jess over at Backroads Homestead, which I believe they're switching their channel over to Brondavilla right now. So this oregano oil that they made, he had given me a few bottles and asked me if I wanted to try to sell it at the market, which is great because it gives me a new product too. So the research that I've done on oregano oil seems to be that oregano oil helps with any kind of bacterial infection. It helps if you put it on your skin to help heal wounds. It also is a great anti-inflammatory. Now, I'm not an herbalist. I'm just learning as I go along. So I always encourage people to do their own research as well. I'm sure there's many more other properties to oregano oil.
That's it, guys. It's back together. I had to make a small adjustment to, believe it or not, the self-adjuster inside of my primary. Usually you take it on a test ride and it will, there's a wedge that's on a spring that will slide forward and automatically adjust it, but every once in a while it needs a little nudge. So I opened it back up and gave it a little nudge. Seems fine, running fine. I'm not getting primary noise. Time to take it for a test ride, a real one. I'm gonna be using this later on today to go out about 75 miles from here. 80 miles from here is where I pick up the truck. About an hour and 40 minutes. And let's hope Missy doesn't have to come rescue me again. All right, guys.